Hi everybody. People have asked me, what do I think of ChatGPT? Am I excited? Well, as a scientist, I'm pretty interested in the technological breakthroughs. As a human being, I'm not excited. And this video, I'm going to tell you why. Fundamentally, my point is that a lot of these technologies feel to me like an improved means to an unimproved end. In other words, tools that get us faster to exactly where we do not want to go. And the reason for that is because I believe the more powerful the technology, the more developed we have to be, the more enlightened humanity has to be, the more clear humanity has to be about what constitutes a good life, if they are to be used for net aggregate good. And I do not believe humanity is in that spot. So I believe that tools like AI and other associated technologies will just get us faster to where we do not want to be. Nuclear technology is a parallel that I'd use. It can be used for a fantastic, clean, renewable energy source, or can be used to destroy the entire world. We did both. Let me give you 5 points in particular, and they're going to be in ascending order of importance, with points 4 and 5 being really, for me, the most core points. But let's start with the first and most obvious one, that, it will cause a lot of disruption. And these days in modern culture, disruption is spoken of as if it is in and of itself a good thing. Sometimes I think it's a little bit like the English expression, turkeys voting for Christmas. Disruption is all very well until you're the one being disrupted. I think we always have to accept that in disruption, there is a lot of human misery that's caused by it. Now, you may say overall for society it's good, but that doesn't mean I have to be excited about people losing their jobs. And I do think there is a huge potential for people to lose their jobs with this, and not just the jobs that people expected. There are a lot of people sitting out there, lawyers, financiers, doctors, writers, creatives, who would have thought that their job was pretty safe, and it's not going to be safe in the near future, and that's tough psychologically on people. You may not feel sympathetic about those people who hold these classically quite good jobs, but more or less it will cause a lot of human misery. Will more jobs be created? That's the usual argument, right? Maybe, maybe not. That's why I reserve my opinion. But the key is this: it's not just aggregate jobs being created, it's meaningful jobs being created. Will enough meaningful jobs be created to replace? The jury's out, I think. My second point related is who is going to stand to benefit most. I suspect it will be the owners of capital that invest behind these AI algorithms. In other words, as usual with a lot of technological process, it's likely to be rigged such that it benefits the 1% rather than 99%. Again, you may say this is the price we pay to live in progress, society, comfortable, etc., etc. But again, whether the benefits really aggregate, the jury's out. So can I be excited today before I've seen actually how people will use it? Can I be excited today before I see whether it will benefit humanity as a whole, in particular those people who are struggling? No, I can't, because I haven't seen any evidence for that yet. All I see is propositions, a number of which propositions, such as the one above, removing jobs, do not seem to me to be necessarily conducive to aggregate human happiness. My third point, I guess, is more in the way it operates. The AI is not creative in a sense, even though it can pretend to be creative. You saw ChatGPT create poems and this and that, but really what it's doing is it's scouring its data sources and aggregating together stuff that people have already done. In other words, it's a mass plagiarism device, which I guess in some sense is what a lot of research is, or at least research that's textual, that's using other people's work. The problem with AI is that all it will do is continually reinforce biases and patterns in its original data source. It's only as good as its data source, is what I'm saying. So if you feed it in a bunch of conspiracy theories, what comes out is a bunch of conspiracy theories. If you feed in a bunch of inaccurate data, what comes out is inaccurate data. And what that means is that as AI creates more of its own content that is then used by other AI, you get this self-reinforcing cycle of nonsense where innate mistakes and inaccuracies, biases, unpleasant material gets reinforced and reinforced. It's the classic echo chamber effect. So unless human beings intervene proactively to prevent that phenomena, you could see, much like you've seen a lot in America recently, the echo chamber on steroids. Now to my fourth and fifth point, which for me are probably the most fundamental. The previous three you've probably heard of before, and I think they're fixable in certain ways: create more jobs, sort out the plagiarism stuff, etc., etc., distribute the wealth more evenly. All of that can be sorted. But the fourth and fifth, to me, are more fundamental. The fourth point is, John Maynard Keynes, he was a famous economist, many of you would have known. He predicted that by now we'd be barely working at all. Technology would be able to fulfill humanity's basic needs, and we could spend the rest of our time in leisure, socializing, and creative pursuits. And clearly, That hasn't materialized. We're working harder than ever. Now, why is that? There are a couple of points. The first point is because we're greedy. Those of us who could live more comfortable lives choose not to because we want to acquire more and more, consume more and more, profit more and more. Technologies have been used to do that. It's not being used to give us more free time. The efficiencies we save in technology, we're just ploughing back into consumption. Now, if you, like I, believe that consumption is not the unlocking key to human happiness, that's not a positive trend. In fact, the technology is being used to obscure what truly makes us human. It's being used to cover up what can truly make us happy. And that's what I mean by a kind of a faster route to misery. If it just enables more consumption, more of the things that haven't made us happy in the past, aren't making us happy in the present, then it isn't a good thing. And this is not a criticism of ChatGPT or any technology in and of itself, because you can see that it can be used to achieve all those enlightened ends. The issue is if you put it in the hands of a human being who believes that the key to happiness is more consumption, more environmental degradation, more exploitation, more competition, or whatever, then you end up in an unpleasant endpoint. And that's my fifth point, really, an increasing cynicism about how this will be used. When it came out, lots of people were talking about, well, Elon Musk, for example, goodbye homework, I think he tweeted, and lots of people are using it for that kind of efficiencies. Is that a good thing? Goodbye homework, losing all of that? Because the fact is that as human beings, we get the most pleasure from doing tasks. I've said this before, right? Sometimes you do stuff not because it's the most efficient way, it's because it allows you to express your humanity. Doing homework, doing research, reading books, doing the hard miles intellectually, these are things that can and should be satisfying in and of itself. And the more we just simply try and automate them away, I worry the more we abstract ourselves from what it is truly to be human. Does that lead to overall happiness of the human race? Does that lead to meaning? The other reason Keynes's hypothesis didn't come right about low hours and working weeks is because many people find meaning from their jobs. And you take it away, you take away their meaning in life. And meaning is very important. And so again, it's not a criticism of ChatGPT per se, technology is neutral, but how are we going to use it? So the overall message that I'm giving, I'm not against technological progress. I think it's interesting as a piece of science, for sure, very exciting as a piece of science. But technology and human development need to move in tandem. We need to be enlightened human beings more as we progress our technology more. The more powerful the technology, the more responsibility we have as humanity to have our heads in the right place and understand what it is that's going to lead to net human good and personal satisfaction. However, I fear that currently on the human development side, we're going backwards. In technology, we're going forwards. And in the end, that just leaves us an accelerating course towards more misery.